Hello everyone, this is Sumerian, and this is part 2 of the tutorials on building your own currency system. As you can see, this is exactly where we left off. We have the one functioning trigger over here that gives us a health capsule if we have at least 5 coins. And we have the other pad over there that we never actually made working yet, that it doesn't do anything yet. And so, what we need to do to get that to work is we need to have another logic gate here. And this logic gate is going to be controlled completely by this first logic gate here, because this is the one that knows when it's open, when it's closed, when you have enough currency, and when you don't have enough currency. So when it opens the other one, or our new one, and when it closes the new one. And we're going to attach it the exact same way. We're going to say stepped on player any, and send an input to here. And we have to remember our input blocked is going to turn on this system to subtract the 5 points, and it's also going to tell this object generator to get us a special move capsule. And that's all we have to do. And every time, let's say you had a whole bunch of different triggers that would be fired off by the 5 points, you just have to remember they have to be controlled by this logic gate here, the main one, and they have to send a input block signal to open this logic gate to subtract 5 points, and they also have to send an input block to whatever result you want to happen. And so we'll just test this out. Go give ourselves some points and see if we can't get special capsule to work. We have 3 points. That one shouldn't work. This one shouldn't work. Excellent. Now that we have 6 points, I'm sure I avoid that first platform, but if I stand here, well, subtracted the 5, and there's our power capsule. Of course, this one won't work because, again, we are below the 5 points that we need. Here, we now have 10 points, and I should be able to step on this one, see health pop up, step on that one. Got our health and our power. Excellent. It's working exactly as it should. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add more possible values that can be deducted. So right now we just have a system that would work on whether or not a player has 5 coins. What I want to build now is I'm going to build another trigger area. And what it's going to do is if you have 15 coins, it will give you a random packer tool. So to do that, we have to mimic this logic right here. So we need 2 counters again, and we need 3 logic gates. And the counters this time are going to be set 15 and one below 15, so 14. And every time you add a different possible value to the system, you have to remember to hook up these 2 main logic gates, your increment by ones and your subtract by ones. To your new counters. Every counter in the system that runs these logic groups right here has to go up and down the same amount at the same time. And again, the target reached of the top one, the 15 value, inputs to that top logic gate. and the target reached of the one below, or the 14, inputs to this bottom one. The top one only sends out a signal if it's open to close the main logic gate, and the bottom one only sends out a signal if it's closed to open this logic gate. That logic gate is going to control this bottom logic gate so that if it's open, the bottom one's open. If it's closed, the bottom one's open. And this one, of course, if it opens him, and if it closes him. So they're all always in the same state, opened or closed. There, we've designed another system. Now, we need to change our decrement system a little bit here, because this counter here is going to subtract 5, but we now need a counter that's going to subtract 15. So the best way to do this is I'm going to put a logic gate here, and we're going to remove the link that goes to that counter. So now, every time target is reached, I'm going to send an input to this logic gate. So, whenever we purchase something now, we have to add something else. Input blocked is going to open that logic gate, and both of the possible purchases of 5 have to open this one. And this logic gate is going to be a purchase value of 15. So its input blocked needs to close this logic gate. The reason is because the output, or if this logic gate is open, it is going to increment by 1 the top counter. And if it's closed, it's going to increment by 1 our new counter here. And our new counter is going to be set up to the value of 15. And it will do the same thing. Target reached, close this logic gate to stop the entire loop from happening. So now, if this logic gate is open, we're going to count to 5, or decrement that number by 5, and then stop the circuit. If this logic gate is closed, we're going to do this 15 times, and then stop the circuit. Now I believe this counter is already set to that logic gate. It is. That's one of the only ways you can actually double check something's attached to the logic gate you want, is you try to attach to it again. If you can't, you're already hooked up to it. So now we have this 15 circuit in place, and we want to be able to do a random packer tool. So we're going to do a very similar system where we'll have an object generator here, we'll put a locator over here, hook the locator up to him, hook our trigger area up to the input of our main logic gate for the 15 count circuit, and if it sends out an input blocked, we want to do, let's say, a random pack. And we also have to remember to open this logic gate so that it will begin the countdown, or begin decreasing our score of 15. So let's test out our circuit now. Alright, so let's just double check that this is still working. There's my health capsule. and my trigger area over here requires me to be at least 15 to purchase something. So I'm now at a count of 16, so if I step on that trigger, it subtracts 15 points from our counter, and it gave me a, what did it give me? It gave me some sort of dynamite as my random pack. I step back on it, it's not going to work. So what we could do now is you can continue to add more possible things to buy at the value of 15 by adding another logic gate, having its open and closed state controlled by this main logic gate. Or you could set up another system of 2 counters to perhaps the value of 20 or to the value of 10 or to whatever value you want to have people have to pay to do things. For example, I could have a door and it will open only if you have 5 coins. First I'm going to force it shut. It won't open. And then let's make it cost 15 points. And again, we just have this new logic gate controlled by the state of the main logic gate. And this button will simply be an input to this logic gate. And we have to remember to hook the input block up to a opening the door. And we have to set it up to ensure that this logic gate is closed, so we're pointed at the 15 point decrease circuit. And we have to remember to turn the circuit on by opening this logic gate here. So now I should require 15 points to push this button, which will open that door. Door didn't open. Good. Now let's see what happens when we hit over 15 points. There you go. The door has opened and we subtracted 15 points. This is a great currency system, I find, for doing almost anything you want because it is based on logic gates. Therefore, you can attach any logic you want to this currency system and have the player be required to earn the points necessary to purchase items in your toy box or to advance to the next stage. And the beautiful thing is, because we're doing it all off this one logic gate here for incrementing by 1, I could do something as simple as put down a victory tracker. And I will give myself a button here and a button here. Throw down an enemy generator. I'll have this button. Activate that. This button will pop up a turn foot soldier, and our victory tracker defeats an enemy. Player 1 will input into our logic gate, which will increase our score by 1. So if I turn on that activity tracker and then spawn a couple foot soldiers, my score or my currency should go up every time I defeat an enemy. And there you see, my score went up 1 per enemy that I got. And that is just a wonderful way to put any type of source for a new type of currency system that you can actually use for almost anything in this game into your toy box. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope it helped, and I might do another one afterwards to go really in depth into this possibilities of the system.